Welcome everyone. Have you ever wondered where the things we use for Mass are kept? Or where did the service and the priest go to get ready for Mass? The answer for both those questions is the sacristy. Now, unless you're part of a church ministry, you've probably never seen what a sacristy looks like. Well, today we have Father Jack, who will show us what exactly is in a sacristy. So come join me searching through the sacristy. Hi Father Jack, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, I have to ask, why is it called a sacristy?
It's a bit of a funny word. If we think of the other English word sacred, we might have a bit of an idea of why it's called a sacristy. So sacred means holy or set apart. A sacristy is where we keep those holy things, those things set apart for Mass, for the worship of God, for religious services. That's why it's called a sacristy.
Thanks for that, Father. So recognize these. Can you have a run through what they're used for in Mass?
Yeah, so what we have here are a lot of the vestments that we use for Mass, or special robes that we use for Mass. So you'll see here we have an alb, which is worn by all the ministers at Mass. And we have here some chasubles, and you'll see that they're different colours. So these colours signify different seasons in the church or different feasts. So you might be familiar with violet, which is used in Lent and Advent. There's red here for the Holy Spirit or for martyrs. So there's different colours for different seasons and different types of robes here. And we have here a stole too. So you might be familiar with this from the Sacrament of Reconciliation. So a priest will wear this in reconciliation, but also at Mass too. But you don't see it because it's under one of the chasubles.
So why just this during confession?
It's a good question. The stole represents kind of the power of Jesus, and so we experience that power in the Sacrament of Reconciliation. So that's why we wear this during that sacrament, because we exercise that power of Jesus to forgive sins.
Okay, thanks, Father. So now we're all here and everything's laid out on the table. So firstly, the candles. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, the candles remind us of the light of Christ, and we use them on the altar to focus our attention there. And we use them in processions too to focus our attention on the procession. So they're used to focus us during the Mass.
So they're supposed to remind you of Jesus when I go to Mass?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So what about that big book in front of you and with many ribbons? What's that called?
Yeah, this is called the Missal. So this has the prayers for Mass and also the instructions on what to say when, how to say it, movements, things like that during the Mass. So there's lots of prayers, so it's a big book. So yeah, this is called the Missal.
So Father's not really memorising the things at Mass, is he?
He might remember some of it, but he can't remember all of it, no.
All right, well, what about these little things in front of us?
They're called cruets. So one holds the water for Mass and one holds the wine for Mass. So that's why we have two. So they're called cruets.
And they're the ones that we take in during the procession?
Yes, yeah, we process at the time of the procession of the gifts up to the altar.
What about these linens in front of me? They're all different shapes and sizes. Why are they different, and what do you use these for?
Yeah, so they're all types of altar linens. So we use these on the altar during Mass. So this is called a corporal. That's used underneath the chalice and the paten at Mass. This is a purifier, so that's used to clean the chalice.
Okay.
And this is a finger towel, so it's not a very difficult thing to imagine what that is used for. The priest dries his hands on that.
Okay. So next we have the hosts, and I see they're all in different shapes and sizes. We've got the small one and also the big one. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, so we have here the hosts for communion. So this is made out of unleavened flour and water, okay, going back to the Israelites at the Passover who ate unleavened bread. Now they're different sizes because this would be used by the priest during Mass.
Okay.
Okay, and this would be used for you going to communion.
All right. This is one of my favorite ones to use. Well, I don't use it. Can you tell me more about the bells and why do we use bells during Mass?
Yeah, good question. Bells attract our attention when they're rung. So we ring the bell at particular times during Mass to draw our attention to a sacred moment, something important that's happening during Mass. So that's why we have the bells for Mass.
So just like the candles, it helps us focus then.
Yes, yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
All right, well, we have some special vessels in front of us, and I know that they were kept in a locked cupboard, so we even have a special key for them. So can you please explain to me why they're in a locked cupboard, but also why we use the different vessels and where we use them at Mass?
Yeah, sure. So what we have here is the chalice used for Mass, and into the chalice is poured the wine and the water. We have here the paten, and that's where the priest places his communion host during Mass. Okay. And here we have the ciborium, the ciborium. And in here would be some hosts for during Mass to distribute. But also, after they're consecrated, we keep this ciborium in the tabernacle so that people can venerate them, but also so we can take communion to the sick. And the reason we keep them in a locked cupboard is they're made out of precious metals. And so we keep them locked to be safe, but also because they're used for sacred things. So we only use them for those sacred things. So that's why we would store them away when we're not using them at Mass.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Father. Well, there you have it, searching through the sacristy. I hope you learned as much as I did, and I hope you had fun. See you next time.